Check 1 2. Hi. Hello. Hey everyone. Is my mic coming through? I can't hear it. Hold on a moment. You guys, maybe you can hear me, but I can't hear me, and that's bad. No, I don't want to touch it. If you can hear me, then that's fine. But sometimes, because it's supposed to also come through my ear so that I can hear myself, but it's not working. But if I fiddle with this cable, then I don't think anything's gonna work. So we're gonna avoid doing that. So today, I don't know, I'm just kind of chilling. I thought there's some design stuff I need to do, and I thought let's do a quick stream and just do some stuff. So I figured we'd do that. Thanks everyone there's a lot of people here. Wow. I didn't give any notice or anything. I never do for my streams. I just kind of hit live whenever. So thanks everyone that like stopped what they were doing immediately and came. I appreciate it. So today, because there's some stuff I've got planned with Gabi about the model. I'm not gonna go into what the full plan is yet, but there's some design changes that I kind of want to, just small design changes I kind of want to like do. A lot of these changes have actually kind of been around for a while, but not all of them are reflected in the actual in-game model. So how this came about, because I actually have probably spent more time drawing like brand images for like marketing of Gabi than I have spent I don't know, no, I probably spent longer on the model, let's be real. I was thinking, should I say I spent more time on drawing her than the model? But no, the model took ages, so I'm not gonna make that claim. But I made the model a while ago now, and since then I've drawn more pictures of Gabi. I've drawn her more often, and I've made little tweaks to her design. And at some point, I don't know when exactly, but at some point, I want to reflect those new changes in the actual model. But I noticed that every time I draw Gabi, it's always slightly different. And I figured, why don't I just, because I've got like a spare hour, why don't I do some sketches? Because there's some certain features that kind of have changed over time that I kind of want to just like figure out and, I don't know, experiment with. Before I go and change the model. So one of those things is a haircut, because I don't know if I got some examples. Some of you might know this image. This is the image that I kind of use the most because it's the most high quality one. And this is how this was 2019, and this is how her hair looked. I then have another image from 2020, and this is how her hair looked. And you can see it's like kind of different. And then I have this image, which her hair looks even more different. Like it's like a different cut each time. Like the proportions are different, the strokes are different. So it's like, I should probably settle on one of these and like just pick one, because the more I keep flip-flopping around, I'm gonna end up making lots of fun, cool like assets of Gabi that all have different haircuts, which is not gonna, it's not gonna do well for brand consistency, guys. Okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, I should probably, like, I don't know, sort her haircut out at least. There's a few other changes too, like her wearing gloves. I introduced fingerless gloves some time ago, but her model does not have gloves, and I want the model to have gloves. But I've picked that. I've decided already she's gonna have gloves. There's also the headphones, which I think I want to keep in there, which I just showed, but I'll show those again. These headphones, I wanna make that a permanent thing because it's cool. So that's like stuff I want to add to the model, but a lot of that stuff, like the headphones, it depends a lot on her haircut. So, and then there's the ears. The ears are always kind of changing size, and I kind of want to, I don't know. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just gonna sketch and, I don't know, just play around with the sizes of things and the proportions and the volumes, because that's what I do, and figured you guys want to watch, because this is like fun. I like this kind of stuff. I really don't like, this is like kind of the bits I actually do like. I think I said once, a few streams ago, that I don't like game development, which is true. I actually don't enjoy the craft that much, but there are pieces of it I like, such as this. So I figured, hey, why don't I stream the thing I actually like doing instead of coding or something like that. Gloves remind you of Mirror's Edge. Well, here's the thing, because I've noticed something. A lot of characters I liked growing up, like Dan Kuso or Ash from Pokemon, they all have fingerless gloves too. So I kind of feel like I have to put fingerless, because that's like the genre. If you're doing anime that's inspired by like 2000s, whatever, you have to put like, you don't get a choice in that, you must do it. And I thought I could get away with not doing it. I was foolish. I thought it would be okay to not do gloves, but then I looked at it and I was like, no, what am I doing? What am I doing? So I was like, yeah, no, the gloves are going on. Gloves are going on. Sorry, I have a reference image open of like a real, because I'm looking at reference as well on my other monitor for haircuts I want to try out. I'll show you one of them. Let me just, I'll put it up in the corner so you guys can kind of see it. I'm trying to kind of like draw this haircut, because this is kind of where I want to start, because there's something really cool about this haircut. And I figured if it looks cool in real life, because I just found this on Pinterest and I thought, yeah, this is a nice haircut. And if it looks cool there, it'll look cool in an anime too. That's sort of my, that's sort of my thought process. But the head is drawn at this angle that is really difficult, so that's why I keep rubbing things out, because I'm kind of trying to draw that same angle, but I want to put Gabi's features on it and see how that looks, because one thing I like about this picture as well is because you can see the top of the head more, and that's something that I actually don't know what the top of Gabi's head looks like. Like, I can look at the 3D model, but when she's got the ears and everything and the headphones, I wanted to find some picture that was at this angle so that I could draw those and have them kind of like, I can actually like draw the volume out and they're not hidden behind the back of her head. It's just such a weird, like, I'm not used to drawing from this angle. I've never drawn someone looking down this way, so forgive me, it's a little challenging. But I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. I don't get a lot of time to practice. Like, if I had all the time in the world, I would be doing like, those drawing exercises, or whatever artists, I don't know, whatever real artists do, like drawing exercises or something. I'd be doing that every day, but sadly, it's just like too much time. I have to do exercises for everything else, like my Unreal Kung Fu training or whatever. Yeah, so I'm planning to update the model, and I don't want to say too much because I haven't like committed a lot to it yet. Like, it's just kind of stirring, and I have sort of a planned block of time to do it, but I haven't actually like started on it yet, so I don't want to talk too much about that. I just kind of want to do the sketch first and see where that goes. Oh, sorry, it's just this head angle is real. I don't know how, because anime proportions are a bit different. So I'm looking at the reference and I'm looking at the nose, and it's like, all right, well, an anime nose doesn't come out that much, so I might try again, but not go too hard off the reference. I'm just gonna sort of have it there, but ignore it and try and do it from memory instead. And then there's that fated, I might draw it smaller actually. and then scale it up. Because I don't know, sometimes when I draw too big, I don't know, it's just difficult. I don't know why, but that happens. Yeah, I'm using a graphics tablet. It's actually, I do find it quite amusing the amount of people that will assume that I'm using a mouse because, oh man, I wish, because you know how like this takes up so much space on the desk, right? I wish I could just use the mouse because it's more like, at least in terms of desk space, there's less clutter on the desk. But no, I can't do that. So I'm not good at drawing. I've tried with a mouse. It is so unbelievably hard. So yeah, I mean, I probably need a haircut too. To be fair, I'm giving Gabi a new, giving her a trim, but I could probably use one myself. Actually, I don't think I've like, I don't know how many months it's been now. It's been growing. But Gabi's hair is easier to manage than mine. She's just got the nice, because her hair's pretty straight. My hair's a nightmare. It's like, you go to a barber and you basically have to explain to them like, okay, so think of it as ramen soup and how you would trim ramen soup, and that's how you're gonna cut it. And then they don't know what you're talking about, and it's like, yeah, I know, it sounds crazy. But yeah, I've always been envious of straight-haired people because it's easier to draw. I mean, I know I'm struggling a bit, but it is considerably easier to draw straight hair. Have I tried drawing with paper first? I used to do that when I was like maybe 9 years old. But it's just kind of more of a hassle. Like, I'm kind of just as good. Probably, actually, I think I'm better at drawing with a tablet now than I am with paper. I don't draw on paper that often anymore. I used to draw on paper all the time because back when I was at school, I had my best friend, my sketchbook with me all the time because you weren't allowed to you didn't have computers back then, back in the day. So I would have a sketchbook with me everywhere and draw a lot on paper. But I don't know, I think because the kind of work I do now kind of demands digital workflow. So that's kind of what I do now, just digital stuff. It's also, yeah, I'm just looking, because it's also like, for this reference image, you can't really see the neck. So I'm trying to, because it's not important, but I like knowing where the neck is, because... I need to make this. Hold on, I'll put it up on my other screen bigger so I can kind of see it better. Yeah, school was the perfect place for that, indeed. Unless the teacher catches you, in which case it's not so good. Yeah, I would actually, I get in some trouble. I'd be too creative. They're like, no, you're gonna do Pythagoras, and then I get, you know, get my sketchbook confiscated or something. But I mean, I guess it's better to have a sketchbook confiscated than a laptop, because you can put more stuff. A laptop's more expensive, so it's like you don't want that happening. Oh wow, yeah, this head angle. Because I'm looking at the image and I'm looking at this, and it's like I've got everything so wrong. I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna try a different angle, and I'm gonna try to kind of approximate. I'm just gonna draw a head from an angle that I can like remember, because like that's too hard for me. Maybe I'll come back to that. Because the other challenging thing is that it's asymmetrical. So one thing that I've always kind of not liked is that I have not been able to draw Gabi's hair from this angle that well either, because of her fringe. So I want to see if I can draw it good from this side, and then try it the opposite side as well, maybe. Because that's the thing too, is that the length of her fringe has been like in flux a lot, and it's like I should probably settle on what the actual guidelines are for that, because it wouldn't make sense to keep making more like drawings or the model and everything when I still haven't, like, when I want to keep changing stuff all the time. And I think, you know, I don't know if I'm the only one that gets this, but every time I draw one of my characters, I feel like they always grow a little. Like it's an iteration. So the last time I drew Gabi, I kind of I gave her a bit more muscle, which was something I actually kind of liked. I thought maybe I'd keep that in, but it's the kind of stuff that you don't think of like the first time. For those who have seen what Gabi used to look like 10 years ago, then you can kind of see how like 10 years of those micro changes can kind of amount to what Gabi's become now, I guess. But yeah, it's yeah, because one thing I like it, but at the same time, like I like that process of iterating. I like it when you know, you're doing something and then it sort of grows a bit with you as your tastes change and as your like taste for things of like what feels like the right thing to draw. Like as that changes, you can kind of have the characters grow up as well. But you know, when you're trying to make a character that's like a key thing for a thing you're making, it's kind of important that it looks consistent. So that's always that kind of struggle I have where it's like I want to keep it the same, but I come up with like new ideas to change stuff all the time. So I don't know. I thought today I'll make a step in the direction of, you know, actually settling on something. So, okay, I'm not liking where this is going so far, so I might pivot this a bit. Because, yeah, the challenge... Oh, there's a few challenges. There's multiple challenges. I'm just going to draw an approximation of where her eyes would go, because I can't be bothered to draw all of that. I might make the brush smaller too, that might help. What was I saying? Yeah, so I don't know, because I don't draw hair. Well, I don't draw period a lot as frequently anymore. But in terms of hair, I think Gabi's hair has been the one I've drawn the most, because it's kind of like I've tried things out that are just kind of cool, like this. For, like I'm just messing around, right? But I noticed that like drawing these big lines, it's kind of fun. Now, if it looks bad at the moment, don't worry. I'm just kind of like, I'm just sort of getting lines in there. I'm adjusting. I'm constantly iterating, because one thing I kind of got to think about as well is just the shape. Because there's a few different. I'll finish this quick one like as a warm up, I guess. Of just like what I remember some of her hair having, or maybe I'll get another reference open. Because I'll try and like compare the different sort of ideas. Like I'll copy and paste this and sort of like go over the different sort of ideas I've had for it. Because there's this one here. I'll try and sort of draw it out because I've got this picture open. There was this sort of version where it was sort of very round, and she would have little bits coming out like this. This was like the 2019 sort of cut, or the 2020 cut, I think. And her ear kind of like came up like that. It's always, and then this pit here has always been kind of hard, like how to cover up where the ear starts with hair. Actually, no, it should angle out. It should angle out a bit more. There we go. Did you learn to draw anime from somewhere, or did you learn it by yourself? I kind of both. I think last stream I mentioned an old art teacher I had when I would have been like maybe 10 years old-ish. But that wasn't like a traditional thing. It was kind of just like a club where you show up and he's like, yeah, you want to learn to, I'll help you learn to draw whatever you want. And I was like, I want to draw Bakugan. And he's like, okay, cool. We'll print out some Bakugan and we'll put them at the front and you can try draw them and I'll give you like some tips. And that was kind of like it, I guess. There was like a year of that, and everything else was just kind of like me fixating on characters and drawing them over and over. That was something I used to get like criticism for from like my peers and stuff, is that I would always just draw the same thing like all the time. And I don't know. I never quite saw that as a bad thing because I don't know. I was very. I mean, I kind of get it because you know you're not trying stuff. You're not trying new stuff a lot, but I kind of knew the kind of stuff I wanted to be good at drawing. So I just kept drawing the stuff I wanted to be good at drawing, which was this kind of stuff, I guess. So if you were to have me drawing in like a building, I'd be terrible. I wouldn't be able to do it. Or, you know, a tree. I'd be terrible at it. Even like depending on the day, even what I think I'm good at drawing kind of is bad. Like this, for instance, this is not my best. It's kind of it's not my artists, you know what I mean. Everyone kind of has like their bad and good days. Because I've been doing lots of coding lately, which is I'm a little rusty. And I think I did drawing last week, but that was like for Calder, who's got very different rules to draw him. Sorry, it's just all of this whole thing just feels off, this face. Because I'm trying to get where the eyes are. I might just like rub that out and put a cross on it, because I can't get the eyes the way I want them today. But this is sort of like, I'm trying to kind of copy that haircut I had from like 2020, I think was this one. And she had like these sort of broad, kind of like these curvy sort of strokes. And then the fringe would kind of come down like that. Something like that. Roughly, I don't know. That's not really a good... I might need to do a few warm-ups still, perhaps. Maybe my hand isn't... Like, yeah, well, it looks better than my first attempt. Let's get rid of that. That looks terrible. Let's try. Well, I'm going to have another crack at that first one. Now that I've sort of warmed up just a little bit. It was good. Why did you... No, it wasn't. Okay, because I know I could do better. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to attempt it now. Because I really want to try... Because there's three kind of styles that I'm sort of looking at that I want to try. But I want to try and nail this head angle, because that's like the best angle to try the style on. Because it kind of gets the part... Because here's what I'm trying to do, right? Because this angle, because it's this part of Gabi's head is like really difficult to manage because of the ears and because of the headphones. So I want to try and like really focus on that bit and see like practically how it'll work. Because I don't know, I'm not too like, I can't really like test that with my own hair. So I don't really have a good feel for how that will go, you know what I mean? So but if I draw it, I can kind of get a feel for it. And it's easier to draw than to model it. At least for me. It's just... How on earth... Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of like get whatever that angle is. You know what I might need to do? I'm going to do a bit of cheating. But this is concept art, okay? So it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to draw some guides over this to help me out, because I'm... You know, if I practice every day for a year, I wouldn't have to do this, but I don't get that kind of time. So I'm going to draw like a guide over and then just sort of have that on my other monitor, because that'll help me out. And you know, it's concept art, only I'm going to use it. Doesn't matter if you're tracing over an image as like a help, I think, in this case. Because that actually is a really, I would not think to draw it like that, but if I'm putting my pen over it like this, that's actually a very kind of, and the neck would, I feel like the neck would kind of be like there-ish. If it was, because this is like a real life sort of person, so the proportions are a little different. But that is actually a really, I would never have thought to like do it like that. I guess it's because of the nose, it's the nose kind of like, yeah, because you sort of got like the eyes coming in like that, and then the cheek is sort of there, and the jaw is down there, and then the nose is there. Yeah, it's actually kind of weird when you draw it like that, isn't it? All right, let me put that over here. just so that I can kind of like see, because then I once I have like the shape, I can fill the details in pretty easy. I think I've always been. I think maybe my flaw is that I'm kind of too detail focused, because a lot of my old drawings have terrible proportions, but the detail is like kind of excessive. And I've kind of tried. I'm kind of have tried actively over the last like few years to dial that back. But you know, when you grow up like drawing a certain way, it kind of sticks. So I'll always be great at drawing like folds on clothes, or I don't know, like hair strands, or like patterns or belt buckles or shoelaces. But when it comes to the general shapes, some days I'm good and some days I'm not, and and it's like it's a bit of a mixed bag. But yeah. Bold Gabi. Insert Tenzin quote about bold advantage. Is that a Legend of Korra reference? Because if so, I understood that reference. Actually, no, because Korra has a halfway through the show, her haircut changes, it becomes like short, like she cuts it. Except I remember someone pointing this out. It was really funny because she like has this ponytail and she like slices it off, and then when the hair falls down, it's like perfectly layered, and it's like there's no way there's no way your hair would fall like that and layer like that if you just like cut it like without any like layering or anything. Like that's not how that works. So I always thought that was really funny. But it's a cartoon. I don't think the kids aren't gonna care if the hair is like not. Oh, this is how this is not how the hair volume would work. Like no 8-year-old's gonna be worrying about that stuff. Wow, I need to practice drawing heads from this angle more often. I want to add that to my to-do list. Can you try using the new Blender tools to get a free... well, I don't want to go too into it, but I'm thinking for these changes to I'm going to use Blender, but there's something else I want to try that's not Blender to do that sort of thing. The problem is I messed around with it, but I couldn't get something I was happy with. I was like drawing like hair strands and stuff, like trying out hair presets, whatever. And I'm like, because I don't know what I want yet. So it's like, I should probably draw out what I want and then I'd be able to make a better decision. I think that's how yeah, because that seems like a good, I don't know, seems like it would work. Because I think once you know it, at least I've noticed, once I know what I want, it's like very easy to make choices about stuff. So, yeah. But it's just making that choice. That's the hard bit. Okay, I don't want to jinx it. I was gonna say I think I've almost got a feel for this sort of where the eyes should go and stuff. Oh, wow, actually, that was ooh, I like that line for the eyebrow. I don't know how I did that, but I like that. I'm gonna delicately try and keep it there and not rub it out. Did you watch Edge Runner? No, sorry, I have not. I have a big backlog of stuff I'm very behind on. My friends are very upset because I'm the hardest person to socialize with because I don't watch enough things. I'm always reading about weird stuff, and then it's like, oh, there's this new great show. Have you seen? And I'm always behind all the time. So I just sit and listen, and I go, oh, that sounds cool. and then I'll like, I don't know, maybe someday get around to watching it for myself. But I don't know, yeah. There's a lot. I think what else? There's other stuff on my backlog too. I can't remember any of them right now though. See, that's how terrible I am. I can't even remember. I just know that Edge Runners is kind of on there, I think. Although I'm not sure if I'd like it, because I think I saw like the I mean, it's cyberpunk, which I'm not really a cyberpunk fan. I haven't played the game, but also just of like the genre. Like I'm not really into like neon Blade Runner. Like I'm just, I don't know. It's not really appeals to me. Which is weird because I think a lot of people assume it would because of Project Feline. I think there was this kind of idea a while back. I don't know how, it might have been a few years ago now. I think because a lot of people had like suggestions before I was doing my levels of like, oh, you got to make it like this cyberpunk Project Feline environment or something, you know, like very neon and sort of, you know, very Blade Runner-esque, which isn't really, that's sort of not what I had in mind. But I think a lot of people kind of assumed it because when they see like, I don't know, I guess when they see anime Catgirl, I guess like cyberpunk kind of gets thrown in there too, I guess. I don't know, maybe you guys can explain that. That's just kind of the vibe that I got, at least. But actually recently I've been very much into like the 80s aesthetic, like rural America in the 80s. I've been kind of obsessed with that vibe lately, which is nothing to do with Project Feline. It's just like a cool kind of vibe, kind of like, because cyberpunk's a vibe, like I don't mean cyberpunk the IP. I just mean because that's what the thing is called, right? Like the genre is called cyberpunk too. Is it a genre? Or I don't know. It's like a style. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I've been kind of thinking, man, the 80s were pretty cool actually. That's sort of what's been on my mind lately. You know, back when you could go you could go to an airport and you could just walk into the airport. There's no security. Like that kind of, because, you know, in the world I grew up in, that's never really been a thing. So it's really weird, like watching old movies and then like looking at like an airport scene and it's like, oh, there's like, they don't have to take off their shoes. Like there's something weird about this. Cyberpunk is a style. Yeah, a style. That's a good way of describing it. I mean, yeah, look, it's cool. It's just kind of not, I don't know. I've never really, there's a lot of cool styles that I don't know, I'm not a fan of, I guess. But it's not that they're bad, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't speak to me. I think the reason I don't like that, it's not that I don't like it, it's just, it doesn't appeal to, I think the reason why cyberpunk doesn't appeal to me is because I've always been kind of into, and this is like, not just movies, but like everything, like music and movies and games. I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of weird, but I'm always drawn to very like positive stuff. Like I'm trying to think of a like utopia. I don't want to say like utopia, but I think that's kind of the word I'm looking for. But cyberpunk is definitely not a utopia, right? Like I think the whole appeal of that is that it's a dystopia. And that's cool, but I'm more attracted to the opposite side of that, of like, what if there was a fictional world that was like, you know, not depressing, you know, like not dystopic and end of the world. Like, I don't know, that's kind of just what speaks to me more. It's what I kind of get drawn to more, which is why I'm like that's why, like, you know, I'm super into like artists like Owl City, or like very sort of gentle like ambience, which is really not cyberpunk. Like cyberpunk music, like that kind of genre, you know, it's stuff like Tron, or, you know, like it's very like techno and high energy, and then there's like a droningness to it too. Like some soundtracks I've listened to that aren't from cyberpunk properties, but they sound like they could fit cyberpunk. They're always very like intense. And I've always been kind of attracted to like different stuff. Also, man, this is a tough haircut to do. And the face feels, the eyes don't feel like they're in the right place. They gotta be bigger. But I don't know. Are there any? Am I just weird, or is there like a whole? Are there other people that also kind of like? I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, like Lazy Town, which I know is a completely different. It's a whole different thing from like from Cyberpunk. It's a bit of a jump, I know, but that vibe, I think that's cool. Or I can't think. I don't know. I can't. Nothing really comes to mind. But like, I don't know. Whatever that's called. Whatever the Lazy Town, whatever genre that is, then that's me. Literally me. On God. Yeah. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. Like whatever like, I think a lot of I don't know how people think of cyberpunk stuff, but whenever I consume media, I'm always like I usually have like two reasons. Either A, I'm looking for fuel for like my own stuff, or it's like a place I'd rather be at. Cause that's kind of, it's like escapism, right? Like whenever I'm kind of watching something, and if it's not to like fuel and to think about for a project or whatever, it's like, oh, this is like, I want to escape here and this is where I want to be. And I don't want to be in the cyberpunk world, man. It's like, it's kind of scary. There's like, you know, half robot people everywhere. It's always nighttime, and it's noisy, and it's crowded, and it's always raining, because that's I don't know if cyberpunk is always raining, but you know, it's like the Blade Runner sort of aesthetic, sort of what I'm picturing. You know, I wouldn't be happy living there. I don't want to escape there, because I don't know. It's kind of I don't know. It makes me feel like, you know, like the Ryan Gosling Literally Me picture, and I don't want to feel like that. You know what I mean? You know, so when you think of like Lazy Town, right? To me, that's the kind of escape I like, because it's cool. You got Sporticus, who's like fun. He's happy. It's sunny. There's like 6 people in the whole town or something. I don't know. There's not a lot of people there. It's like not very crowded. There's maybe like 3 characters in every shot at a time, and like no more than that. And everyone's a puppet, so they're not actually real people either. And to me, that's like paradise. That's like perfect. But you know, then you go to like what's the city in Blade Runner called? I don't know what the city is called in Blade Runner, but you go there and it's like it's raining. You got holographic people trying to sell you stuff all the time. You got bounty hunters trying to kill you, and it's like, yeah, no, thank you. I'm gonna get out. You know what I mean? Is it actually called Night City? Because that's actually cool, like as a name. Because I would have thought someone would have taken that name, but I guess Blade Runner is pretty old, so if they took it, that's cool. So I've still got my reference here. I'm just trying to kind of draw those strands, but it's actually kind of hard. This is actually like, whatever this haircut is, I'm starting to think it's not as simple as it looks, because I'm looking at the edges, like there, and that doesn't happen naturally. I don't think. I think that's like a professional person has gone in and like done something. I don't know how that works, but you know what I mean. You know how like there's some hairstyles you look at and it's like, okay, there is no way that is naturally like flicking out at the edges like that. I don't know. There's probably some like thing that happens there. There's like a way you cut it. Whatever that is, that's going on here, I feel like. And it's like, okay, maybe this is like, maybe you need like a professional barber to like be able to articulate this cut properly, if you know what I'm saying. And yeah, I'm not used to drawing a head from this angle, but I want to get some of her other like features in too. I want to get her shoulders in, which I think would go there roughly. I'm gonna guess, just so that it kind of in context, so I can see it. Disney, I don't know. With Disney Pixar, a lot, maybe their old stuff, yeah, but not so much the new stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what my favorite Pixar movie would be. Toy Story is like the first one I probably watched, so I'd have to say that. But I don't know. I don't like Toy Story for that reason. Like, in terms of a place to escape, I don't want to be in Andy's room. I don't really want to be there because I don't want to be a toy. You know what I mean? But if I'm trying to think, what's the coolest like Pixar environment I would want to be at? I don't know. But it's kind of warmer in terms of the vibe. It's definitely, well, I guess because some of the movies just take place in real life, like Up, like that is like, you know, wherever that is. South America or whatever, like that's a real place, or I don't know, it's based on a real place, like it could be a real place, but actually I don't know, because the only place that comes to my mind when I think Pixar is like the Monsters Inc. corporate office, which isn't really, I don't really want to be there either. You know, it's I don't want to be walking down and then see Mr. Waternoose like scuttle across the. Yeah, no, that's a bit too freaky. I don't want to see that happening. I don't know. I guess to describe like, I guess the kind of places I'd want to escape to, at least for now, at least for my current sort of thing, besides Lazy Town, because I think I mentioned, yeah, I've been like kind of over the last I don't know, like year or 6 months, I've been kind of like going back in time, looking at old movies. And when I say old, it's probably not old, but it's like old to like, you know, to me, like stuff from like the 80s and 90s. Because one thing I kind of like is that it's like before CG was kind of a thing, and everything kind of feels more human. I can't really put my finger on what it is, but I don't know, I just kind of connect more with the stories, and weirdly enough, I've noticed that a lot of the things I was kind of interested in are all kind of set in like rural American towns in the 80s. I don't know, that's kind of been like my fixation like lately, I guess. I don't know, because there's something about it that's kind of like cool, because I didn't grow up in America, but it's cool in the sense that it's like pre-internet and people actually like did stuff. And like had memories and things. I don't know if that came out, like if that made any sense, but you know, I don't know. It's sort of like I'm getting a little fatigued of like sort of a lot of like CG heavy sort of stuff. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just a bit over. It's a bit too stimulating for me. There's just too much going on. Like I could not watch Transformers. I just couldn't. There's just too much like happening. And my brain just gets like kind of short circuits because it's like, oh, okay, this is like too much. I need something like, I just need it simplified, you know? Animated Transformers, however, I don't know, maybe that would be easier. But if it's like the whatever, the guy, who's the guy that directs them? If it's like his thing, where it's all like, you know how they look. I tried drawing a Transformer once when I was 12, and it was a disaster because there's so much detail. Which I think I drew the body of like Bumblebee or whatever his name is, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But getting the rest of his arms and all the little bits of metal, I was like, okay, this is like, this is kind of a bit much. Sorry, I'm trying to get sort of the, okay, I think I'm happy with that now, because there's something about the shape didn't feel right, and it's like, oh, what's going on? But I think this is sort of nice. Yeah, so because the other thing I'm trying to look out for, because I know I'm using like a real world reference, but I'm trying to kind of simplify the shapes, because I've noticed that sometimes when I draw Gabi, it's like the hair is too and this is on the model, this is absolutely the case, where there's too many strands and it just I don't like it. I at the time I didn't really know how to do it, so I just did what I could, but looking in retrospect, it's like this is too busy. I want less detail, but more like broad shapes, because it's just kind of easier, I guess, and it looks kind of better, I think, sometimes. So, you know, I'm trying to kind of be just cognizant of that while I go about this, because I know that I can get a little overboard sometimes when it comes to like detail and hair and things. So this sort of shape, yeah, because this is kind of interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out where the ears and that will go, but we'll get to that when we get to that. She got the Karen cut. Yeah, okay, no, shut up. Okay, I can't unsee it now. Damn, I'm gonna have to pick a new haircut now. No, but no, the Karen cut though. No, okay, I think I get what you mean. It's because I've drawn this side wrong. That's why it looks like a Karen cut. So I'm gonna try and sort of simplify this, because this is kind of difficult, because the hair like parts here, but then it sort of goes back like that. Actually, I'll keep those lines in. That actually kind of helps me when I draw those lines over it. So I'll put in like guides. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like drawing big blocking volumes, I suppose. We'll draw those in because that's actually kind of helpful. But I'll go for another, yeah, I'll say like another like 20-ish minutes or so, because I have a very important place to be, and that is Halo with the boys in like 20 minutes. So we'll just, but I'm sort of liking, I'm kind of like just getting a feel for it, you know, the hair strands and whatnot. I kind of, yeah, actually this is cool, because then if I draw it like that, I can kind of draw where the parts will go. Now let's try and see if we can get the ear in. I'm gonna put a layer underneath. I'll make this a different color, because I just gotta like keep track of like where her actual head is, because I should have probably kept those lines in from earlier, but oh well. So what I'm gonna do now is the ears, because that's kind of it's not really, it's kind of part of the haircut, but not really, but it does influence the haircut a lot. So I want to make sure that the ears, because I might change the size depending on how it looks on this haircut. So that's kind of where that goes. I'm just gonna draw like some of her body in the frame. Actually, hey, this is not so bad now. See, I told whoever said that earlier, that why'd you rub it out, it looks bad. See, this is why, because I knew I could make it look more like this. All right, maybe I went a little too, okay. She looks a little too chubby now, but if I, yeah, no, there we go. Yeah, got it. All right, I just won't touch that. I'll leave that. Time for the, so the ear, because it's actually drawing Gabi with one ear is actually kind of more challenging, right? Because it's yeah, because I guess if it's symmetrical, it's kind of easier to judge the proportions, but because she's asymmetrical, it makes it a little trickier. But that's, you know, that's who Gabi is, so I gotta work around that. Because I think there's different kinds of ears you can do. Like I've played around with a few things with the ears. I've tried to have them like small, like on the model they're actually really small. Like you can barely see them. Like they're like that big on the model. And if you have the hair over the top, it's like you can barely see it. So I've tried in my other attempts, like, yeah, you'll notice in each of these, well, let me get these up. in each of these different ones, her ears like get bigger. Like this one, it's quite big, but in this one, it's considerably smaller. And I know it might not look obvious, but when you actually like measure them up, her ear like gradually has gotten bigger. So I kind of like this, like sort of how that is at the moment. So I might, and because the challenge is like where the ear ends on the side of her face. It's going to be a little harder to do from this angle, I guess, but I'm going to try and like draw like culling behind it, sort of where, because the ear will kind of come down there. That's kind of where I'm thinking. It used to come up like there, like that, but I think I want it to kind of be a little larger, because I think the larger, the more it stands out. And with the hair going on, it's got to stand out with the hair. Like it's got to make a cool shape. So if that means making them bigger, then that means making them bigger. So it's just, I don't know, what angle would that be facing from this way? Is the question. I don't know, I guess maybe that way. Maybe like that. I'll try and like make them a little softer on the edge there. Sorry, I'm seeing the chat go by, and I'm trying to get this little bit on the ear, so I'm sorry if I'm missing messages. I'm just kind of like trying to get this sort of out and done. Gabachino. Actually, hell, that would be a cool coffee, wouldn't it? What would a Gabachino taste like? That'd be like, I don't know. It'd have to have some cool ingredient in it that Gabi likes. When she lies, the ear grows. Hold on, what's this? Someone is saying Gabi is probably a Call of Duty kid or a Halo kid. Well, let me ask you this, Anne. Do you even know if Gabi's a gamer? Is she even a gamer? I don't know. Does she look like a gamer? With that physique, with those skills, with that athleticism? I don't know, man. Gabi might not be a gamer. She might be, I don't know, I don't know. Although, okay, here's a fun little thing. If we were trying to get Gabi into video games, what would you recommend to Gabi? If you had to convince Gabi to become a gamer, what would you pick? Gabi being a gamer is my headcanon. I will say, I think she probably, if she was a gamer, she probably would be a controller user, I think. I don't think she'd be hardcore competitive. Candy Crush? Yeah, that's a legit game. You could be a gamer, even if it's Sudoku on your phone. That's right. You know what's up. I'm just trying to like, I don't know, I thought I'd try and draw like something here, because I feel like something should go there, but I don't know what. Because everything kind of looks a bit out of place now with the shoulder and everything. Oh no, I think the shoulder needs to be there. That's why it looked off. And then I'll try and like draw it so that her I don't know, we'll get I don't know, just like having some approximation of where her body is, I think would help with sort of the haircut. Osu. Oh, that'd be interesting. Actually, yeah, I think Gabi would be good at Osu. I get the feeling she'd be good at it. Should be playing parkour games in her lazy, depressed days. I don't know. I have thought from time to time of like what Gabi would do if it was like raining, because Gabi doesn't like rain, and if it was raining one day, what would she do? I think I have an idea on what she might do in those days, besides gaming, of course. Once you convince her to be a gamer, of course, that all those other hobbies just go out the window. Becomes a gamer, plays Osu for like 12 hours. Minecraft. Because, yeah, I've heard, like, okay, me personally, I've tried Minecraft. I didn't like Minecraft that much. I don't really get it. I don't know. I'm actually really curious of what Gabi would think of Minecraft. I probably know her more better than anyone, right? But I actually don't know if Gabi would like Minecraft. I actually don't know. I have no clue how she'd react. Because I don't know, I guess because like me personally, because I never got the appeal of Minecraft. So maybe, I don't know, maybe someone could tell me like what sort of the appeal of it is. Maybe that'll help me determine if Gabi would enjoy it. Because I know there's like, when I tried it, I'll tell you a little story when I tried it. When I tried it, I got very confused and died. And I was like, okay, I'm done. That's how my experience went down. I don't know. I'm not much of a survival game kind of. I think I think it is survival, but I think there's like things where you don't do survival or something. I don't know. It's a big game, but when I played it, it was like a survival game, and it was like, okay, before the sun goes down, you're gonna have to find like. You're gonna have to build something. Well, because the thing is, someone else was telling me what to do, but if it was me on my own, with no one like trying to like giving me instructions, I would have probably liked it less because I had no like clue on what I had to do. Because I just get popped in there and I'm like, all right, well, what do I do? So I don't know. Maybe I just did it wrong. Maybe there's something I'm supposed to read. Maybe they've changed it now where that's not really a thing. I don't know. But I have to think that there's got to be something to it because so many people like it, but I just don't get it. Okay, I'm trying to like draw where her singlet would go. A creative outlet. Actually, you know what? I think I get that. And I think that's why I'll never enjoy it. That sounds crazy, I know, but I think the reason I probably didn't get Minecraft is because I already have a creative outlet. And it isn't Minecraft, so it's like I think that's probably why I'm not drawn to those. Actually, yeah, my mind just got blown from that comment actually, because now I finally get why I was never really into those sorts of games. Actually makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, because I'm always like kind of doing my Unreal Engine or whatever, so I never really had a need to express myself in Minecraft. I just never had the desire for that because I was already kind of doing that somewhere else. But I do kind of envy that though. Like I will admit, while I'm not into it, I kind of wish I tried more things there, because if I got into like the modding scene for games, I think I'd be a better developer, but I didn't do that. Like if I had actually got into like map modding for like Source Engine, whatever, like that kind of stuff, I think I would have learned a lot. And I kind of wish I had done that, but I didn't know about it. Like I didn't know anyone that was a PC gamer. I just had no awareness of that whole world at all. So I kind of didn't end up learning about that until like years later, after like it kind of died. Like I don't know, I don't really hear about the Source Engine sort of scene anymore. But you know what I mean, like, because the reason I say that is because there's lots of great tools that I've heard that those engines come with, and I've seen what people like do with them. I've seen what happens when you get someone that knows how professional tools work. Because that's kind of the advantage, I think. Like, I think Minecraft would probably have that too, I'm guessing. Because you're not having to code Minecraft from scratch. Like, it gives you a whole thing. And I think if I had a taste of that, I think I would have developed things different. Like, I would have had a better, in my head, like, way of conceptualizing, like, systems and stuff. I think I would have been a better programmer, but oh well. Okay, so I'm gonna, because I have to wrap up soon, but I'm gonna try and draw her headphones on this hairstyle. And I might iterate on this more on or off stream, not sure, but this is just sort of, I just thought I had like a spare hour, so I thought I'd just fiddle around and show you guys what I'm drawing. Survival games rely on heavily with friends. That's another reason I probably wasn't drawn to Minecraft, because I had no friends. That makes a lot of sense. I will say though, yeah, because like there are games that I didn't really get that they aren't like survival. It's kind of more like Left 4 Dead. Actually, no, that is kind of survival, isn't it? But it's not the same kind of survival. It's not like Minecraft, you know what I mean? It's like different. Because I had never played it, but when I played it with friends, I was like, oh, I get this now. Like this, or like Destiny or like Borderlands. Like those games, I tried play solo, didn't do it. But then when I played it with someone, it's like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. Okay, I get it now. And that was really cool. But anyway, so I'm gonna try, because here's the other thing too, is that Gabi's headphones are weird. Like, they're very weird, right? I think I might have a video, like an old video on my channel somewhere of like how I kind of came up with the idea, because I think someone asked me once, like, how on earth would Gabi wear headphones? And I'm like, oh, that's a good question. And then I came up with this weird, because I haven't drawn them from this angle, so it's going to be fun, because I just want to sort of close with this, I guess, because it's going to be interesting. But yeah, because they're like a headband, but they have like speakers like perching out of them, like that. But it's really hard, it's actually really hard to draw from this angle. Because, okay, let me draw where the headband would go, because the headband would kind of come up here, I think. Okay, I need to turn on smoothing. I need a bit of... My hand's getting a little restless now. Whoa. So we'll just get that. Sorry, context. I know it's a bit of a shorter one today. I just thought I don't know. There's a lot of programming stuff I'm doing at the moment, but it's, oh my god, it's actual hell. It is actual hell. I hate it, but it has to get done. I'm getting through that stuff. I just thought, because what is it? It's like 10 p.m. for me right now, so I figured and this is something else I have to do later anyway. So I figured let's just knock this over tonight. So that I don't have to do it later, and I can focus on coding tomorrow. Which, yeah, I mean, I just need a break from coding. I just need a break from it, man. You know, I'm not naturally gifted in coding. I don't know what I'm doing there really. I'm just kind of trying my best, but see, you know how it is. You know, some days it's just not. You'll fix something, 10 things break. You know the meme. You know how it is. So that's kind of been my last few weeks. So to keep hope and to keep my spirits up, because I always try and have a no zero, what is it? Like, don't have a 0 day, like that kind of thing. So my no zero for today is doing this, and I did some graphic design stuff as well earlier. So that's kind of been my, that's my way of like going to sleep and going, oh, well, at least I did something. Because you know, sometimes you with code you kind of have to just let it sit, and then you'll come up with something. And I'm not at that. I need to let it sit more, because I'm stuck with something. So I'm just kind of, it's like, well, I can't do nothing, so I might as well like work on something that's fun for a bit, and then come back. So that's kind of what this stream is. Yeah, actually, wow. I didn't realize how hard these headphones are to draw. Okay, let me, I'm gonna try another approach here. I think, no, the headband has to come out. It has to go further along. Yeah, no, I've been doing it wrong. It's gotta... I gotta try that again. It's gotta come out more this way. No, not that much. Once I get this part in, I'll compare it to the other previous haircuts, and I'll explain some differences. Because they're actually, I'm starting to notice, I think I'm kind of like, I'm glad I tried this out actually, because there's a few things I'm noticing that are actually kind of cool with the shape. I might need to adjust where the ear, it's the ear, because the ear's at this weird angle. So yeah, okay, that's easier now. I just need to like bring the ear forward a bit more. Okay, much better. Now, real quick, I need to get, oh, what image? There was something I drew recently where I drew the headphones really good, and like it was like a drawing of the headphones that I actually liked, but I don't remember how recent it was or where I saved it. So that's brilliant. I'm just gonna quickly scroll through File Explorer to see if I can dig it up. Okay, no, I don't think I won't be able to find it. Because the shape of the cups, the headphone bits, it's always kind of that's kind of something I change a lot too, depending on like what I feel like doing that day. The one reference I've got open at the moment is this, but I think there might have been something more recent, but I can't remember. So I guess this is the most recent then, with this sort of shape. So I'm gonna leave that over here, because it is a weird shape. I haven't drawn it from this side, so this is going to be interesting. Is listening to music important? Part of her character design? It is. And I'll go into why in a bit. But could she be passionate about could she not be passionate about a community and people, or does she prefer being alone and isolated? Oh, that's an interesting question, but it isn't. Oh, how much do I give away? So this is one of those questions where it's like, I know, but I don't know if I want to say yet. Like, I want to, but I'm afraid there's gonna be like ramifications if I don't know. It's just tricky. Because I've intentionally been very secretive about the Gabi's inner machinations and, you know, the more character sort of stuff. And the reason that is because a lot of the stuff is still like it's still like ideated. Like, there isn't a lot in the actual game itself right now that like reflects this stuff. So I try to be kind of not open about that because it's all in here. And I have tried to kind of make a policy when I started my devlog to just like shut up about anything that is in here only, if you know what I mean. Because this is more to do with like the whole game kind of thing. But I don't want to get praise or like, I don't want to get recognized for things that I haven't done yet. Like, I don't want to be like congratulated for like, oh, this is a cool thing, you know, for something that's only in here, because it doesn't really mean anything when it's there yet. That's why in my devlogs, I'm always kind of talking about, this is what I've done now, and judge what I've done now, because at least that's like real, and it doesn't just exist in my head. So I don't know, I'm trying to think, because I know that's a very unsatisfying answer, so I'm trying to think if there's a way I can say it, but it's isn't going to be that kind of thing where I was like, oh man, I wish I didn't say that at this point, you know? Because there'll be a lot of stuff that I change too. Because at the moment, there has been so many times where I go, man, I'm so glad I did not say, reveal this thing or that thing. There's been a lot of times like that. So I'm trying to determine now if this is one of those times where I should just stay quiet about that or if I should say something. That's all. Yeah, actually, is that really a name, Mr. White? That is an epic username. But yeah, Mr. White, that's also partly it as well. It isn't, because there's two prongs. One prong is you and your expectations and your perception of Project Feline. I don't want to dilute your perception of Project Feline with stuff that isn't real. And what I mean by real is stuff that's at least been partially executed in some way, like expressed somewhere. At the moment, now this kind of stuff that who was it that asked? I'm trying to, because I want to try and remember names, right? But whoever asked about, Paid Monkey, right? Because that kind of stuff, that's kind of leading into things that I actually have written down. And that's kind of this, I'm kind of more comfortable talking about that area where it's like things I've actually put on paper. But that paper is like a design document. It's not actually there in a build yet. So that's kind of my next stage filter of like, I feel slightly safer talking about things that I've at least written down, but then it's like, it'd be great if this was actually like in the game, because then I'd have that confidence of like, okay, well, this is actually in there, so I can like, you know, with confidence tell you this bit of info. So it's figuring out that balance of like, because I know definitely not, it's at least in my experience, I know definitely not to do, like, never to talk about things that aren't written down. That's kind of a rule I set for myself. So this question, it's not in there. It's still kind of it's written down, but it's just not, it's not in the build. And I haven't decided yet on how much I want to talk about for things that aren't in the build. I haven't really made up my mind yet on that. Because, you know, yeah, and so it's for you, because it's like, it's weird, because this probably sounds very anticlimactic, and I realize that. But I will preface that by saying I am, like, overall, I am actually kind of overwhelmed with how many people are, like, excited for this. And I don't mean that in, like, I'm overwhelmed, like, in a bad way. It's just, it's really cool and it's really awesome, but it also requires great care. So I want to treat that, I don't want to, like, use that to like get people too hyped. But hype is, I think, but that isn't quite it still, because I think hype has a place. It's just not really in here yet, if you know what I mean. Sorry. The headphones are so hard. Oh my goodness. Because I just wanted to draw this one headphone and the other one, of course, and then but oh my goodness. So sorry, I'm just kind of like a bit stuck there. You know what I said earlier when I get stuck on detail? That's kind of what I mean when I was like zoomed in to the canvas trying to draw this curve. That's what I mean. Anyway, back to the whatever I was saying. I can't remember what I was saying now, but you know, I was saying something. You know what I was saying. You don't want a No Man's Sky it. I get that, yeah, maybe that, I guess maybe, yeah, that could be it. But the other prong that I brought up as well, it's that, and it's also like for me, because I noticed, and this is something that, because okay, finally, is this the part of the stream where I have like some tidbit of knowledge that I think is actually helpful. So, you know, I don't know. I think there are people that watch me that also are like doing game dev. I think there's like a good amount of people that are like doing their own thing. I did get asked, might have been last stream, by someone about starting a devlog, I think. I can't remember if maybe it was the stream before that. So with that, I'm like assuming that there are people here that are kind of got their own thing going. And for those people, I'll say, like, one of the challenging things about having a devlog is that kind of thing that happens where you get that dopamine hit of sharing ideas. Because on the one hand, if you have a devlog, like I do, right? It's kind of like you want to share stuff because, you know, it gets people excited and it's cool. And it's content, you know, that as the kids say, it's content. But I've always tried to be careful because, yes, I could make dozens of videos about what's going on in here, but I deliberately choose not to because it only exists here and it isn't worth anything in there. And I don't want to make it worth something when it isn't actualized, because I think when you do that, your brain gets excited and it goes, oh, cool, people like, I showed them this idea I had and they like it and that's awesome. And that's not like, sometimes there is a place for that, definitely. So I'm not saying you should just be in a vacuum. There is a place for that, but I think it's just like that care of like not getting too swept away by the idea of something. And you know, so I try, like, I have I'll have people I talk to, like, where I don't get any reward from sharing it. The only reward I get is like whether it's like terrible, but I don't get the validation of like, you know, that you would get from telling like a devlog audience or something, like, because I think that's kind of a dangerous, that's something that you got to be very careful about. I think if you're thinking of starting a devlog, I think you got to be really careful about what you share. And I don't mean like to be secretive or that people are going to steal your idea. That's not what I mean. It's like, because yeah, this is it's something I've been on my mind for a while. I'd like to make a video about it someday. I'm just trying to recall all my thoughts about it on the stream, but it's like, sorry, it's just a bit hard to focus while I'm also drawing, but it's like that thing of validation. That's kind of where that's the dynamic that you're contending with. And I almost, maybe I am guilty of this and I don't realize this, but I think I have done a reasonably okay job at avoiding getting sucked into that kind of trap of needing your ideas to be validated by someone, because I think that's something that happens. And I think there is a place for it, but I think there is something that can happen where you become like obsessed with that and you kind of get hooked on the idea of like talking about an idea but never executing on it, but you get rewarded for talking about it. So that kind of tricks your brain into thinking it's done it when you haven't. And being aware of that isn't really enough. Like, you can be aware of that and go, oh yeah, I know that my brain's going to release dopamine when I talk about this thing. But being like, it'll still happen whether you know it's going to happen or not. So because I like, just like, you know, recently even, I did a bit of work recently on some other thing that I've got going, and I haven't talked about it to anyone, and I'm not going to for a while because I haven't done that much on it yet. It's some other thing I'm working on. And I'm deliberately, because I wanted to show a friend. I was very tempted to like send an excerpt of this thing I was doing to a friend because I felt excited, because I was like, oh my goodness, I just did this bit of work on this thing and I want to like, and I'm excited. But the thing is, if I had to be honest with myself, it isn't that much. Like, it's good. It's more than zero. I put like 20 minutes of work into this thing, and that's cool. But I think that should be its own reward, and I should keep that to myself until I've done something like more that is kind of, that would benefit from actually having someone look at it. Because at the moment, this thing I had, it wasn't at the stage yet where having someone look at it would actually help. It would just be me wanting to feel good about sharing, like, oh, I did this today, aren't I good? Like, it's kind of me looking for that. So I try and like stop that happening. I try and like cut off from that, because it's dangerous. Because yeah, like I mentioned, it's just sort of like it adds this extrinsic factor to the work Like if you succumb to that too much, I feel at least that you kind of run this danger of getting like extrinsically motivated by reward. Well, not that that's bad. Reward isn't bad. It's the fact that it's an extrinsic reward. And for some people that works, but I try and stay intrinsically motivated because I've noticed in my experience that that's a stronger, at least for me, it's a stronger source of drive, is to do something because I intrinsically have a reason rather than me wanting to have this extrinsic outcome. And of course it's not to say that there aren't any extrinsic outcomes. There definitely are. Like, those exist, but they don't drive the ship. They're just kind of an outcome that happens. That's kind of where I feel the most comfortable. It's like when you have these extrinsic things, like, when you make a video, that's extrinsic because, people see it. You kind of feel good that people see it. But I try not to let that like drive at the wheel too much. Because I there are times where I have, and it's not as fulfilling as when you have an extrinsic, an intrinsic reason, I've noticed. Anyway, that's just me though. That's just kind of my sort of backstory with that, I guess. All right, so I've tried drawing the headphones over the top. It's because I think that hold on, I gotta move this image because the thing I wanted to do with this is like, okay, they're supposed to, I think these are supposed to be kind of bigger, these little bits. They're supposed to stick out more. That's why they look off. They look like they're flat, and they're not supposed to be flat. So I'm going to try and make these a little bigger. Because I noticed that when you make things bigger, it's kind of cool sometimes. Yeah, like that. That's kind of cool. But I need this... Oh, I don't know. Will it stick up at this angle? I'm not sure. Because I want to make it look like it's going upwards, not backwards. But that's tricky. Anyway, that's kind of what I don't remember what the point of that thing was I was saying before, but I don't know. I guess that's just something I thought I'd say about if you're a developer that wants to do a devlog, just keep that in mind. What kind of cut's Gabi hair gonna be? So whatever I've got here is sort of what I'm thinking. Give me like a minute to just kind of flourish this a little and clean it up, and I'll compare with the other. So it's wait, because I'm looking at this. I just need to move. I need to move this whole bit over and rotate it. Like it needs to be there. I think that's what I was trying to do. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm liking that more. I'll just finish sort of touching this up a bit, and I'll show you the previous iterations of Gabi's haircut. I'm not sure if I want to try more, but I am running out of time, so this will probably be all I do for today, is just sort of this version, and I might do some more in my own time. I'll post them on Twitter or something if I get to finishing that. Because yeah, while I finish sort of, I just want to kind of draw... Actually, I've already got a layer of that. I can just increase the opacity, and then I can add a mask and just rub out some of the guiding lines that I was having, because I don't need all those turned on. So let me just mask out some of the junk so it's easier to look at. And I will describe why I'm liking this fit. So the reason I like the shape that I'm doing here is because it's kind of droopier than the other versions I've had, and it kind of looks more... I don't know. I guess I'll compare with the others, and you'll kind of see what I mean. And let me just sort of rub out this. And I need to add a few lines, because some of... her fringe has also been kind of a thing that's been hard. Because I don't really know how... Because I don't have hair like this, so I don't really know from my own experience how a fringe works, or how the front works. I don't know what length that needs to be to work, so I'm just kind of guessing. But I feel like that's actually I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. So I might need to, maybe later on, I might need to do a few, like, sort of, I might need to do what do you call them? Like, I might need to sort of like draw over it a few times to kind of simplify it and make it more kind of anime looking, but that's kind of a good, I guess that's a good sketch, I suppose. But there's something about it. Hold on, there's final touches. It's just like this, hold on. This strand. So yeah, because I don't know if she should have like some strands that are shorter, like this one. I don't know, because I don't know how you'd cut hair like this. Needs to be a line there. I think maybe this could be a bit looser. Because I feel like I kind of clumped a few too many lines in there. And then that could be a bit cooler, I guess. Yeah, like that. So yeah, because I want to just be careful that I'm not drawing too many lines in it, because I noticed on the 3D model it doesn't look how I want. So I'm just going to try and rub some of these out if possible. So let me get rid of some of these, because I don't know, less is more. It's like one of those sort of moments where like the less you sort of have, the better, but you don't want to have nothing. So you got to kind of figure out where you want to. You only kind of want to draw lines at like certain distinctive points, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Let me redo this bit. Oh, no, not like that. Oh. Oh wait, that wrong layer. Oops. I didn't mean to draw it on that layer. I meant to draw it on this layer. Yeah, so like this, right? Let me rub that out. Like what line to put there, because there has to be something, but it's, you don't want to go, oh, actually that's kind of nice. Yeah, we'll keep that. And you have maybe a few like kind of cool lines near like the whatever this what is that called? I don't know, the part where the hair parts. You have a few lines there maybe, but you want to, I don't know, I feel like I kind of want to keep it like cleaner, like less through the ends, because I think the more you add to the ends, I don't know, there's just something that looks kind of dirty about it, I guess. Like it looks too messy, but I mean, hair is messy, right? Because there's lots of strands of it, but it's, you want it to look like flowy. You don't want it to look patchy, which I noticed that I tend to do things that look kind of patchy with the way I draw lines and stuff. So I want it to look nice and smooth. Actually, yeah, I just want to like add a little bit of flair to the edge there. Cool. All right, so let's. It's a bit of a weird angle. I'm gonna have to like draw reference from the same angle, but the other. So to compare with other versions of this haircut or Gabi's haircut, this was a earlier version. And you can sort of see some differences now. Like now that we've got something drawn, let me change the background color real quick so it's a bit easier to see. So if you look at like this, it's the whole kind of shape. It's a bit spikier, which I might try a version of that from this angle just to see how that looks. But the reason I was kind of a bit apprehensive about sticking to this one is because just modeling it is going to be tricky, and rigging it and everything. So I'm trying to like be cognizant of something that is the right shape, but is like not going to be a pain because the hair on the model right now, I don't like it. It looks it could be better. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. There's also this version, which is similar. I mean, it's kind of similar. It's from a different angle, but it's a bit less. It's more curve. It's more wavy in this one, because you'll notice that it's a lot more volume. It's a lot puffier, and it's kind of wavy. And this sort of level of detail I kind of like, actually, because there's like the strands and then there's like no lines, and I'm actually kind of, I don't know how I managed to to convince myself to not draw that many lines, but I did somehow. So that's... But the shape, though, is... There's something about it that just felt too, like, hairspray-ish, if you know what I mean. Then there is this one from more recently. And this is similar to the one I've got here, but there is a slight difference, and that is the ends. So on this version on the left, just an idea, what I tried out, I thought, what if you, like, just hacked off the edges and made it, like, flat, which is what I tried with this one. So, you know, that was what I tried out, and it was all right, but to model it in 3D, I don't know if it would look... I don't know if the volume would kind of go the way I want it. I don't know. Maybe something I might try out with this sort of... From this angle, it might look cool. But the difference with this new one I've got is that it's sort of... I don't know how to describe hair. I'm trying to think of adjectives. I can't think of any, but you can see it, right? The ends are not as harsh. It isn't, like, hacked off. It's kind of like, you know, kind of comes down a bit. It's a little longer, I think. And the fringe is a lot longer. Because that was another thing that I was not really... Because she's got this fringe, but it's kind of a little different in each of these. So in this one, it's I don't know. I don't like how I drew that fringe in this one. Then there's this one where it's kind of just like a short tuft of hair, like bangs, I guess, but just sort of drifted to the side a bit. Then there's this one, which is actually I'm not. I actually kind of don't really like that. It's a bit like, I don't know, because I guess it's the ear kind of throws it off a little bit, but it's like spikes, but it kind of is sort of veering off. Whereas this new one, what I was trying to do is that it's sort of all flowing into the side, because that's kind of what I wanted to kind of do that a bit more. And one thing I want to try maybe for next time is these sort of bits here that kind of curl in. I might want to try something with that, because I do kind of like that, but I didn't really do that with this new one. So maybe we'll try like a version of like this new one, but have it so that it curls inwards a little near the cheeks. Because I think it's the thing about that's kind of nice is that it covers up more of the side of her face, which is good. I think that would look good on her. I don't think you don't want like where her, because she doesn't have ears where our ears are, so it'll look kind of weird. So you want to keep that covered up. So I like that little flourish I had on this version, but then it like this part on the other side, I didn't really dig that. And it's sort of like cut. But I don't know, maybe that's something we might come back to as an idea, because I'm trying to think how to describe this. The personality kind of feels a little different between the two. I think the one where the hair's kind of cut like that feels more aggressive, whereas the other one I've just drawn feels less aggressive. It feels more gentle. This, I don't know, sounds really weird. This is just kind of how this is sort of my brain just firing neurons here, just trying to kind of comprehend what I've just done. But yeah, so that's kind of, I know this is a really, I gotta get going, but it's, yeah, just thought I'd do a bit of sketching on stream, bit of relax, you know, just a chill stream, just chilling out, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that'll do it. That was actually kind of fun. I really wish I could just draw and never program ever again, but unfortunately I have a game to make, so so I guess tomorrow it's back to coding for me. A hairpin. Ooh, that I'll look into that. I gotta get going now, but I will look into a hairpin. Maybe that's what, I don't know. Maybe that actually would make a lot of sense, because her hair's gonna be flying everywhere. So I'll try that out. But yeah, thanks guys for coming. Good to just hang out, show you guys what I'm doing. I don't know when I'll be streaming next, because I might do more of the hair stuff, but I have a lot of programming work to do, and it's It's like depressing programming work, and I don't really want to stream it because it's just hard, you know. So I I don't know when I'll be on next, but when I am, you'll know because you'll hit the bell and get notified when I do go live next. And then that's like a bat signal, and you'll know it's like, okay, he's doing something, and you'll find out what it is. But until that happens, I will see you guys